Hello everybody, very welcome to this presentation of the Foro de Estudios de Lenguas Internacional by the University of Quintana. The title of this presentation is The Need of Distance Education, Lessons from a Corner of the Pandemic World. I'm Leticia, Estudillo, León, and my colleagues are Sara, Merino, Munive, and Rocio, Barbosa, Trujillo. The introduction of this presentation has to do with COVID-19 and how this has challenged the world and is still modifying our lives. Health issues and academic life is full of shocking, stressing, and overwhelming moments. As a result, educators and students have been forced to think about alternative education to be used in chaotic times. However, this has been also an opportunity to rethink our roles and the use of the TIC. The purpose of this presentation is to begin a reflection on the reality that contingency and distance teaching, learning, and ICT have taught to our ELT education community. The framework of this study is by the perspective of digital literacy by Burnett, whose investigation contributes to the understanding of how skills, orientations, and attitudes are associated towards experiences on digital literacies and their influence on teachers' experiences. Recent studies are the following. Pardo and Cobo have proposed blended learning as an alternative form of education in a post-pandemic world by considering the reflection on the value of on-site education and rescue the value of our discoveries of online education experiences during this contingency to integrate the best of both worlds. They have also stated that the movement towards virtuality is a challenge that we had to face due to COVID. Even the more resistant person was forced to an appropriacy of the digital culture. This is our great opportunity to leave behind the tradition of being lecturers and become creators of learning experiences. Universities are late or with little preparation to face the challenge of distance education, so they are trying to replicate the on-site classes. Iberoamerica is under development on the use of digital matters. Another study by Prokopenko and Brashna in Ukraine about COVID-19 and education, they stated that this pandemic has disclosed new problems for Ukraine, but also new challenges and new opportunities. For students, it's time for self-discipline and self-education. For teachers, this is the opportunity to master the latest methodology and tools of distance learning. And for universities in general, it is time to test their technical capabilities of distance learning. But also, it is time of defining a clear strategy of distance learning where students not only acquire knowledge, but also collaborate with teachers in feedback mode. They have also stated the need of this awareness of quick updating of the contents for learning at home. From a sociocultural perspective, there is a case study by Salsinu in Romania, where teachers use Cisco WebEx meetings and students had no difficulties in adapting to the online activity. They were happy with the possibility of attending classes no matter where they were, and the students were also having this fear of freezing of the school year. The difficulties they were facing were related mostly to the competences needed to operate the online platforms, different malfunctions of them, and poor internet connection, and also carrying out the educational activity in the online environment was the most readable procedure during the isolation period. The students were unhappy with the large number of individual homework. There is another study by Quatton who has analyzed how higher education faced the transformations and challenges of the pandemic in the Philippines. Quatton studied the policies and guidelines implemented by the country's Commission on Higher Education. Also, the responses, challenges, and best practices employed by universities in implementing these guidelines, which help to provide general recommendations and argued that Philippine higher education institutions should form an education continuity plan that outlines the procedures and instructions that should be followed in the face of a pandemic. In our study, the methodology used was a semi-open questionnaire sent through Google Forms. The participants were 75 ELT students and their 4 professors. The ELT students' description is the following. All of them were studying the BA in ELT. 56 of them were female, 18 masculine, 1 binary. Their ages were 18 to 52. They were in a second semester to 8th semester. The residence was mostly in Puebla. Some others were in Veracruz, Tlaxcala, Guerrero, Chiapas, and Oaxaca. The professors were teaching different subjects related to ELT. Their ages were 35 to 57, all of them women, more than 10 years of experience, 3 hold an MA and 1 a PhD. The results about professors. 50% of them had a very regular connection to internet and 50% of them did not. 3 of the 4 professors used the internet at home and 1 used the internet service of the mobile. Some of the problems that they were facing were related to students' attendance. Students did not have access to internet or lack of equipment, broken labs, and net cutoff. The adaptation of teaching online. Well, mostly professors were with this kind of problems: location of students, preparation, planning, follow-up, using digital tools, and evaluation. Their feelings about teaching during the pandemic. One of the teachers was a little afraid of using technology. The other one felt inefficient because of the many problems faced and not to solve them quickly. Also felt inexperienced and not knowing how to manage well the TIC. And the third professor felt stress of not knowing how to use the platforms. And the fourth was fine, as was at home. And this professor likes distance education. The suggestions by the professors: training professors and students in using platforms, master the TIC, mentors by academy helping them with patience, solidarity, and empathy, interchange of experiences and advice from colleagues and coordinators, collaborate to plan and prepare materials among the members of each academy, meetings online to express uncertainty, training on digital evaluation instruments, courses on using platforms and how to use the resources on the net to avoid copyright problems. Students should know how to be in touch with their professors and being aware that distance education is the future. Students' results about equipment. 77% of students had their own equipment, 23% no equipment at all. The equipment to study online was basically using a mobile, as you can see here. Mobile that students use were, the percentage of students use 92%, and the computer only 8% of students use it. Access to internet 64% and 36% with no access in a regular manner. The ones with no access to internet were studying in a cafe internet, that was the 25%, and the average of hours were 2 to 3 hours per week, and the other 75% were at home. The most demanded task was related to surfing the net, then essays, exams, diagrams, summaries, forums or comments on platforms, questionnaires, videos or video recordings, reading reports, infographics, and finally, comics. The digital tools used according to the students from the most used to the list. As you can see here, number 1 was platforms, then Zoom, then Google Classroom and its applications, videos on YouTube, mail, Google Scholar, Office, books online, WhatsApp, Facebook, WebEx, Skype, Kahoot, Quizlet, Genially, EducaPlay, Padlet, softwares for video edition, Sony Vegas, Pixton, Canva, SimpleMind, and the list that they used was a notebook, pens, and a camera. Students' general experiences on the use of platforms or apps for virtual meetings. Some of the topics that students raised were the following. Google Classroom is the best for them, but they also experience platform saturation, good and bad organization of tasks on the platform, lack of organization of resources by the professor on the platform, which makes difficult to understand what to do. The platform makes easier the organization over their time, and then they receive immediate grades, and they had this experience of improvement of abilities to use technology. And they also discover new tools online. The difficulties to interact online were lack of motivation by both professors and students, lack of internet connection because of the remote location, change of regular classes schedules, and cyber cafes were closed, bad planning, disruptions at home, sharing equipment with other members of the family, a lot of tasks with no sense at all, and tasks sent on weekends, not seeing the professors, economy at home, having to work, and being tired to be in front of the computer. The cancellation of subjects. Only 9 of 75 students cancel any subject. The reasons: working to support family, lack of time for all of the subjects, lack of communication with the professors, and perceptions about the modality and their effect on learning. The conclusions. From the results, the lessons we learn are the following. Teaching and learning skills to use the digital tools were under development. We must redefine our traditional behaviors and our teaching practices. The replication of face-to-face learning strategies and traditional teaching should be changed to an online mode, implying that we have to inform ourselves on how to work with online courses. Then, contextualize teaching and learning. We should be informed on who our students are and how they feel by considering the economy, the context, and psychology issues that this pandemic is leaving on both students and professors. Less is more when teaching online. Teach our students what online courses are and how to manage the resources they have there and on the internet. Prevent misconceptions about learning online, and the reality we are facing is not very different to what is happening around the world, as you have noticed. As much as we engage and enter into the digital community, as much as we discover what we have access to and practice what we preach is very important. Do not ask students tasks professors do not know how to solve. This little research has raised more questions for reflection. Will the use of digital environment help us, professors and students, to develop a pertinent form to teach and study the matters of ELT education? Is the lack of practice producing fear, stress, and so on, but at the same time triggering an opportunity to face the fear and develop our professional skills in ELT education? We don't know yet, as we are on the path to discover how we can improve in our teaching matters. I think we can overcome these situations by instructing ourselves on how to work. Thank you very much. Stay safe and well at home. These are our references.